Distinguished, untouchable tradition. At times, even poetic.
Outlined against a blue-gray October sky, the four horsemen rode again.
What I do today is very important.
Find out. Life's this game of inches. So is football.
That's why we love college football. Nope, that's not it at all. College football is about the mess.
They're fighting for clicks, we're fighting for wins. There's a difference.
Come after me. I'm a man. I'm 40.
He is hot under the collar that they gave up that touchdown.
Oh, he's mad at Coach Kiffin.
How would you characterize your relationship with Nick Saban?
Maybe like an ex. There's some good and some bad.
The beautiful, beautiful mess. That's why we love college football. It's a group of catty egomaniacs fighting each other for attention 365 days a year, and then actually fighting each other for 20 Saturdays in the fall. Reputations on the line, feelings are on the line, and a whole lot of money is on the line. That's what makes college football this country's greatest reality TV show. I was a cast member. Now I'm making content around it. I'm certain it's the best show out there, and it's still getting better in its 156th version. Even back in its first season, though, it was still a hit. College football had the best elements of Fear Factor when Rutgers and Princeton first drew a crowd in 1869. Folks couldn't believe these dudes were doing this stuff. By the 1920s, the spectacle developed storylines. The entire country knew Notre Dame wanted to win one for the Gipper on their own amazing race to a title. Housewife feuds couldn't match Darrell Royal challenging Barry Switzer to take a lie detector test to prove he wasn't spying on his practices in 1976. In the early 2000s, the good old boys from Texas played a better game of BCS Survivor and gave the Hollywood guys a slice of humble pie with the whole world watching. And last year, Ryan Day went from the lowest point in his coaching career, rumors swirling, to winning the whole damn thing. The Kardashians don't have that. This game has never just been about the X's and O's. It has always been about the drama, about the stories. And the stories are what make great shows. Andy Cohen knows that just as well as Greg Sankey and Tony Petitti. And there are good stories hiding everywhere in college football. 136 Division I teams. Each one has the kind of drama, stakes, and intrigue Peacock execs dream about. You just have to know where to look. And because I was a cast member, I do know where to look. Let's just zoom in on this week. I'll sit down right here, pick out 5 big games, and give a reality TV storyline to each, and then I'll tell you why college football is doing it better. Now I'm really feeling it. Let's do it. Florida at Miami this weekend is Kim Kardashian versus Kourtney Kardashian. They have success, they have titles, but being able to say I'm better than you still matters a lot to them. Getting the edge on an opponent that everyone compares you to, that you're so close to, feels better than winning almost any trophy ever could. Winning is fun, but watching the other side lose is sometimes even better. Florida is Kourtney. Been around longer and values tradition and stability a bit more. Tries to pretend they don't care as much about fame and headlines. Miami is Kim. Few are better at making headlines. It's about an image and maintaining it. At the end of the day, though, the rivals are more similar than they are different. They will still be national brands no matter which way this latest chapter goes. Kourtney and Kim will still have their family empire the same way Miami and Florida will still have the most fertile recruiting ground in the country in their backyard. Even then, there's no limit to the pettiness, connivery, and bragging any of these sides are ready to bring to a competition. Everything is fair game. What makes Florida at Miami even more interesting to me is how quickly things can switch up. Florida had the state's first team in 1906 and the first Heisman in 1966. But the U got 3 national titles in the 80s before the Gators got their first in 1996. Then Miami put together one of the greatest teams of all time to pick up another natty in 2001. Florida then responded with Urban Meyer and 2 more national titles in 06 and 08. Now, it's all up for grabs. Kourtney gets a win off Kim every now and then, but it's not as back and forth as it used to be. So, the Battle of Florida is more interesting to me. What's happening in New Orleans, though, is juicier. Duke's playing Tulane. The first quarterback the Tulane head coach, John Summerall, signed to come play for him was not the top hot prospect. He wasn't on a lot of people's radars. His name was Darian Mensah. Coach believed in Darian. A quarterback transfer from Oregon, Ty Thompson, came down to Tulane last year. Big time recruit, totally Tulane's type on paper. They tried things out, but John just kept believing in Darian and they had a ton of success together. But this winter, temptation came calling. At first, no one thought Darian would leave John Summerall and Tulane for Duke? Duke's a basketball school. There's no real connection there. Then we dug deeper. Duke gave him a chance to play on a bigger stage in the ACC. Duke offered him $4 million. Duke was a threat. Still, we believed Darian would stay loyal until it came through. This is Love Island Season 7's biggest moment. Tulane and John Sumrall are America's sweetheart, Alondria. Darian Mensah's the underdog folks were cheering for. Taylor. Ty Thompson is Jalen. Totally Alondria's, but just didn't work out. Duke is Clark, the one we thought couldn't turn Taylor's head, but did. That also makes Jake Retzloff Nick. I prefer college football's version because there's more layers. There's a New Orleans versus Durham, down home versus preppy dynamic. There's the risk reward of taking $4 million now and potentially sacrificing your development into an NFL quarterback, or passing on that kind of money to gamble on a program that will have to turn their back on you if you stop producing. There's more to it, but it all comes to a head when these characters face each other this Saturday. College football just does it better. This is a show I've seen 40 seasons of, and one team that I've seen in person like a half dozen times. I've never been more confident in a comparison. Texas Tech going up to Salt Lake City to play Utah in Survivor Arabia. See, people who know that old school Survivor was about getting the numbers and maintaining them. Castaways did that through straightforward means, winning challenges. But the game developed, a new way to win emerged. Look at your alliances more fluidly. Get out the threats, regardless of your previous ties to them, and then don't stand out as a threat to everybody else too early. Survivor Arabia put castaways from the first 12 seasons against castaways from the 12 most recent seasons. Old school versus new school, baby. Two wildly different strategies to win Survivor, just like Texas Tech and Utah have two wildly different ways of winning the Big 12. Utah's strategy, you know the deal. It's to develop talent, have them stick around. Old school. From 2010 to 2024, 12% of the 3-star recruits that committed to Utah became NFL draft picks. That's the best rate in the Big 12 and the 4th best nationally. In 2025, Utah returned 75% of its offensive production. That places them 3rd among Power 4 teams and 11th nationally. Texas Tech's strategy is to go out and buy the best roster and bring in transfers. New school. Reports say they've spent close to $29 million on their 2025 roster. Nearly 50% of Texas Tech's projected starters come from the transfer portal. They signed 13 4-star transfers this offseason, more than the rest of the Big 12 combined. Out of every team in the country, they've signed the 3rd most 4- and 5-star transfers over the past 2 years. In Survivor Arabia, we had to watch these strategies play out over weeks. On Saturday, we get our answer in 3.5 hours. Next up, Auburn going up to Norman to play Oklahoma. This is Scandoval, but better. I know, high bar, but stay with me. Auburn's quarterback, Jackson Arnold, he used to play at Oklahoma. He was their guy. In fact, he was their guy to the point where they kicked out their other guy, Dylan Gabriel, to make sure he had a shot. But you lose them how you got them. Jackson Arnold was discarded for the hot new thing in the transfer portal, and the whole world got to watch it go down. Jackson Arnold is Ariana Maddox. Oklahoma is Tom Sandoval. And this 3-0 Auburn team is the revenge body. And what makes the Auburn-Oklahoma situation even better is there's no subjective relationship scoreboard. There's an actual scoreboard where we're gonna get to know definitely who's better off. Illinois versus Indiana is a 125-year-old overlooked rivalry. Shine just a little bit of spotlight on it and you can find some fascinating storylines. Kind of like the Church of Latter-day Saints being around for almost 200 years and us not knowing the drama that goes down in Provo, Utah. That's right, Indiana versus Illinois is a whole lot like the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. Indiana and Illinois have a real opportunity right now. They can establish themselves in the upper echelon of the Big Ten in this rev share era of college football, and that will pay dividends down the line. In the same way, every character in Secret Lives of Mormon Wives is fighting for their place in the upper echelon of mom talk. It's rare for this many Mormons to be commanding this much attention at the same time within pop culture. And it's rare for Illinois and Indiana to be at the top at the same time as well. In their 73 matchups all time, there have only been 2 seasons where they both went on to finish the year above 500. The reason I'll take the iSchool stories over Secret Wives, and this is with all due respect to Taylor, these coaches are next level divas. Kurt Signetti literally said the phrase, quote, "I win, Google me." Brett Bielema will talk shit to another coach mid-game. Whitney could never. I could go on now. I really could. Like I said, 136 teams, 12 Saturdays every fall, 365 days a year of drama. But this is the greatest reality show this country has. And to honor that, just like any great reality show, I gotta leave the audience on a cliffhanger. Oh, you know we got Penn State versus Oregon next week? Kinda reminds me of...